Want to move on now to the one-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine. As you take a look at St. Michael's Church in Kyiv, the capital in Ukraine, marking the 1 year since Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine, which took place 1 year ago today.
And joining us for more is Indiana Congresswoman and newly appointed Commissioner to the Commission on Security and Cooperation in Europe, Victoria Spartz. Congresswoman, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you back on this important day. You were with us when the invasion started a year ago. You were born in Ukraine. You've got roots there. You've got a lot of intimate knowledge of the country, the landscape, the politics. Did you think that we would get here a year ago?
Well, thank you. I'll be honest with you. I personally had no doubt. And if you remember, a lot of people in Biden administration thought Ukrainian people are not going to stand for a few days and maybe the most few months. And it was their own assessment. I told them, there are some challenges always been in Ukrainian government, but Ukrainian people survive in spite of the Ukrainian government. And really, Ukraine, where it is, it's thanks to a lot of help of the American people, but also bravery of Ukrainian soldiers, have a very brave and smart commanders. The efforts that were done by local governments, by volunteers from Ukraine, from the United States, from all over the world. And really, this is a people war. And when you have a people that do not want to be suppressed, it's very difficult to suppress and take over countries like that. And I have a history of generations of my family dying for freedoms in Ukraine, so I had no doubt.
Congresswoman, you joined Newsmax earlier in the week to express the importance of deterring Russia and China from controlling Europe. Do China has proposed this 12-point plan. Do you think it's genuine in a promise for peace talks?
Well, I don't think anything that China is doing is very genuine. If you remember, before the war started, Russia went to ask for permission of China to have the war, and China authorized, but had to delay the talk of the Olympics and actually caused some problems with Russia because the weather started changing, it got a little bit warmer, and it made their tanks to stuck in Ukraine a little bit better. So I think, China behind the scenes will help Russia a lot and doing a lot of things to maintain financial capabilities for Russia and, speculated even some military capabilities and helping with supplying some things. So ultimately, Russia has been helping. China, and I think China has to be pushed by the West to start putting pressure on Russia, because without China's help, Russia will not be able to continue that. And if China wants to have collaboration with the West, they need to be under enormous pressure to start pushing on Russia. But I hope it's not just talking points, but, I'm taking everything with a grain of salt that China does.
Yeah, Congresswoman, there is some reporting that indicates that China may already be aiding Russia in some capacity. We'll see if that increases this year, year two. Take a listen to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre characterizing the president's visit to Ukraine on Monday.
The trip that President Biden to Kyiv, as many of you reported on, was historic. It was brave. Many of you talked about how we heard the sirens wailing in the background as the president was on the ground.
In year number two, does the administration need to do maybe a better job explaining to the American people why this war matters?
For sure. And they've been slow working a lot of aid, which when you slow working things, what it does, it prolongs this war. And a lot of people die from that. And I've been putting enormous pressure. And there's a lot of my colleagues from both sides, actually, in the administration to do a better job, be more proactive. But that's very political. It's good for them to go there, but ultimately they do it for a lot of reasons. And the main reason, it's a political reason what they're doing. And also they're politicizing the issues and neglecting internal issues. You cannot also not to deal with issues at the borders, that issues which just happen in Ohio, the issues of economy, and the issues of fixing some things that are important for the American people, because this is a very important policy in the strategic of our interests of our country. But we also need to understand if they do not inform Congress, it means that American people are not very well informed. And if American people are not informed, they will not continue supporting this very important effort. So I think communicating back to our branch has been terrible from the executive branch, but hopefully now being in majority, we have more ability to push them.
Well, Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you, Congresswoman.